Cracking the code. Understanding IRS civil audits versus IRS criminal investigations and taxpayer responsibilities. Hello, I'm tax attorney Charles Dillon. In this video, we'll explore the differences between IRS civil audits and IRS criminal investigations, as well as discuss how you may protect your interests. What is an IRS civil audit? An IRS civil audit is an examination of a taxpayer's tax return to determine whether they owe additional taxes, penalties, or interest. IRS civil audits are typically conducted by IRS Revenue Agents or examiners who review the taxpayer's tax return and supporting documentation. In an IRS civil audit, the burden of proof generally falls on the taxpayer. This means that it is the taxpayer's responsibility to substantiate and support the accuracy of the information reported on their tax return. What is an IRS criminal investigation? An IRS criminal investigation is an investigation of a taxpayer's tax return to determine whether they have violated the criminal sections of the United States Tax Code. Criminal investigations are typically conducted by IRS criminal investigators, also known as IRS Special Agents, who review the taxpayer's tax return and supporting documentation, as well as other evidence such as bank records and witness statements. Now that we've provided an overview of the differences, let's go in for a deeper dive. Here's how IRS civil audits work. When the IRS conducts a civil examination, they may question specific items or aspects of a taxpayer's return. Initially, it is the taxpayer's responsibility to provide documentation and evidence to support the positions taken on the return. This includes providing records, receipts, and other relevant documents. While there are exceptions to this rule, the IRS generally has 3 years to audit a taxpayer's tax return for IRS civil audit purposes. The primary purpose of an IRS civil audit is to review a taxpayer's financial records and tax return to determine if they have accurately reported their income and deductions. The goal is to ensure compliance with tax laws and regulations and to resolve potential discrepancies or errors. Civil audits typically focus on specific items or aspects of a taxpayer's return, such as income, deductions, credits, or other tax-related matters. They are generally limited in scope to addressing compliance issues. In an IRS civil audit, the standard of proof generally falls on the taxpayer to provide documentation and evidence supporting their tax return positions. The standard of proof is typically based on whether the taxpayer can substantiate their claims. Taxpayers are expected to cooperate with the IRS during the examination process. Failure to provide requested information or cooperate with IRS examiners can result in penalties or further investigation. In some cases, if the IRS initially asserts a specific tax adjustment and the taxpayer provides credible evidence to the contrary, the burden of proof may shift back to the IRS to justify their position. The outcome of an IRS civil audit typically results in adjustments to the taxpayer's tax liability, which may include additional taxes, penalties, or interest. It is generally a civil matter aimed at resolving compliance issues. If there are disagreements or disputes during the audit, taxpayers have the right to appeal the IRS findings, and they may also seek assistance from a tax professional or tax attorney to navigate the process. What are the key differences between IRS civil audits and IRS criminal investigations? IRS criminal investigations are very different from IRS civil audits in their purpose, statute of limitations, scope, authority, burden of proof, and potential consequences, to name a few. IRS civil audits are intended to ensure compliance with tax laws and regulations, while IRS criminal investigations are intended to gather evidence of criminal wrongdoing and pursue criminal charges. The general statute of limitations for federal tax crimes is 6 years. This means that in cases of serious tax crimes, the government has 6 years to bring criminal charges against a taxpayer. Criminal investigations are broader in scope and can encompass a wide range of financial and tax-related activities, including intentional fraud, evasion, money laundering, and more. Criminal investigations are conducted by IRS Special Agents who have law enforcement authority. These agents are trained to investigate potential criminal violations of tax laws and may collaborate with other law enforcement agencies. In a criminal investigation, the burden of proof falls on the government, which must establish the taxpayer's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a much higher standard of proof. If a criminal investigation leads to the discovery of criminal tax violations, it may result in criminal charges, prosecution, and potential penalties, including fines and imprisonment. What should I do if I am audited by the IRS? If you are audited, the IRS will send you a letter explaining the audit process. You have the right to be represented by counsel during the audit. You should cooperate with the auditor and provide them with all of the requested documentation. If you disagree with the auditor's proposed adjustment, you have the right to dispute it. If you are facing a criminal tax investigation, it is important to contact an experienced criminal tax attorney immediately. A criminal tax attorney can help you understand your rights and protect your interests. IRS Civil Audits and IRS Criminal Investigations are two very different types of IRS actions that have different consequences. It is important to understand the differences between these two types of IRS actions so that you can be prepared if you are ever contacted by the IRS. If you have any questions about IRS Civil Audits or IRS Criminal Investigations, please contact Attorney Charles Dillon at 410-321-7696. Thanks for watching.